Hello, welcome to lesson 2 of implementing managerial stroke reporting relationships in Blazor using RADZEN. Now, the objectives for this lesson are as follows. 1. We are going to implement derived property FullName in the employee model class. We use this property as the text value for the managerial stroke supervisor dropdown. And then we are going to ensure that the data grid automatically reloads after an employee object is created or updated. So I have the app opened, and the last part of last lesson I renamed employee.razor to current employees.razor, and I changed the route to company-employees. I changed the route from employees to company-employees. But now you can see there are 46 errors. The errors are due to the fact that I have renamed the employee page from employees to company employees. So now I'm going to complete the renaming process by opening the code behind file. I can just right click on the markup file, and I'm going to select view code. So I'm going to rename this to company. That's the code behind file partial class. I'm going to rename it from employees to company-employees. So right now you can tell it's telling you no issues found. You can see all the errors have cleared up. So having done that, I'm going to save my work. Now, having saved my work, I'm now going to proceed to the first objective of this lesson, which is implement the right property FullName in the employee model class. So I'll go to Solution Explorer. I'll expand models. I'll go to Condata. I'm going to open employee.cs. Now these is the partial class generated by RADZEN for the employees table. Let me put a comment there for you. Partial class generated by RADZEN Blazor Studio. For employees table. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own partial class where I'm going to put the additional properties I want to add to the employee model class. So how do I do that? I'll go to models, I'll go to Condata, and I click on Condata folder. I'll click on add. I'm going to say class. Now, I already have an employee.cs class. So I'm going to say, to prevent naming conflict, I'm going to call this one employee.custom.cs. . 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 35. 36. 37. 38. 39. 40. 41. 42. 43. 44. 45. 46. 47. 48. 49. 50. 51. 52. 53. 54. 55. 56. 57. 58. 59. 60. 61. 62. 63. 64. 65. 66. 67. 68. 69. 70. 71. 72. 73. 74. 75. 76. 77. 78. 79. 80. 81. 82. 83. 84. 85. 86. 87. 88. 89. 90. 91. 92. 93. 94. 95. 96. 97. 98. 99. 100. 101. 102. 103. 104. 105. 106. 107. 108. 109. 110. 111. 112. 113. 114. 115. 116. 117. 118. Then I click add. Then after adding this partial class, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the namespaces for the two partial classes are the same. So I'm going to copy over the namespace in the partial class generated by RADZEN. I'm going to use it to replace the namespace generated by my own file that I've added. So then I'm also going to add the partial keyword here. So partial class added by Benjamin Ferdinand. To add full name, derived property to employee class. Now, the derived property is a property that does not map to a database column. It is a calculated column. It is a read-only column. It is a calculated property, sorry. It is a read-only property that will have only setter methods. So now I enter this partial class, I type prop, I press tab on my keyboard. I change the data type of this property to string. The name of the derived property is full name. And like I told you, it's not going to have setter method. Sorry, that we only have getter methods. I made a mistake. So a calculated property or derived property only have getter methods. So since it has only getter methods, I'm going to remove the setter method here. Then I'm going to, instead of using an automatic, so what we have right now is an automatic getter. So now I'm going to change the automatic getter now. I'm going to say return what? Return first name concatenated with No, I don't want to return just first name. I want to return employee ID concatenated with first name and middle name. So I'm going to say return this dot employee ID dot to string. Why to string? Employee ID it's long, so I have to, and since I'm returning this property is a string, the full name property, I have to convert employee ID to string before I can join it to other string values. Add empty space, add this dot first name add another empty space and this dot last name. Click Save All. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Solution Explorer. Now I go to company employees.razor, and all I have to do in the template form on the page now to customize the manager dropdown. I'm going to change the text property to full name. Excuse me. And there was something I almost forgot. Remember I said a derived property is a property that does not map to a database column. So I'll come here. I have to tell the program that this is not mapped. So adding the not mapped data annotation. After adding the not mapped data annotation, the namespace for the data annotations schema is added. So you can see in line 1 it says using system.component model.data annotations.schema. So I save. Now let's run our app and see what we got now. So if I click on employees app, play button. So now I click on employees. Now when I click on add and I go to choose manager, it shows the manager's ID as well as their names. Cool. Now let's have a look at the lesson objectives. I've achieved 2 of the lesson objectives. And the lesson objectives achieved so far: implement derived property full name and use this property as the text value for the manager/supervisor dropdown. Now the last lesson objective is ensure that the data grid automatically reloads after an employee object is created or updated. Now to achieve this, I'm going to stop the app. Then I'm going to go to Solution Explorer. I'll go to pages. I'll open company employees.razor.cs, which is the code behind for the company employee page. Now, this is the online 132. We have the method that inserts or updates, employee object. Now, what it does on line 137 is it checks is edit Boolean variable. So it uses a ternary operator to check if the Boolean variable is edit is set to true. It will carry out an update for the employee object. Otherwise, if it is false, it's going to create a new employee object. Now, what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to force a page refresh after the object is inserted. Server. So now I'm going to do that is I'm going to use this navigation manager that is injected on line 18 and 19. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to say navigation manager dot navigate to company employees, and I'm going to, by default, the navigate to method takes two properties. The URI that, okay, it takes three properties actually. The properties are the URI that you are navigating to, whether first, then the Boolean property called first load, and then another Boolean property called replace. Now, by default, first load and replace, they are set to false. So, navigate to method is actually an overloaded method. It takes it's an overloaded method. So this is the first of the overloaded method. It takes in two parameters, and the parameters are the URI and the first load parameters. The second method takes the URI and navigation options. The third one takes the URI, first load, and replace. So I want to use the first. By default, first load property is false. So, but I want it to be true. So I'm going to explicitly provide a value of true for first load. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run the employees app again. So I go to employees. Click on company employees. So now I'll click on add. Let me add Roger, last name, Roger Bacon, we are going to customize the employee photo in the subsequent lesson. Let me check the property for employee photo if it's compulsory. It's not compulsory. We'll customize this in a subsequent lesson. Department, customer insights, gender, male, choose manager, David Garcia. So I click save. So now you can see it's added. So we've achieved all these lesson objectives. Let me add one more lesson objective. Ensure that newest most recently added employees are displayed at the top of the grid. Of the grid, of the data grid. Well, let's stop that. Let's stop the hack. Now to do this, I have this method called conDataService. And there is this method that returns all employees. The name of this method is getEmployees, and it takes an optional parameter, which is the query parameter, which can be null. Well, I'm going to add a new class, another partial class for conDataService. In the earlier part of this lesson, I've explained partial classes to you, so I'm not going to bother reinventing the wheel. So add class. The name of the class will be conDataService.custom.cs. So now I will click add. Just like I did last time out, I'll go to the top. I'm going to make sure that the namespace for the two partial classes is the same. So I'll head over to conDataService.custom.cs. I will replace the namespace generated by Visual Studio with the one I copied from the original partial class. Then I'm going to add partial keyword here. Let's go back to getEmployees method. Let me just copy. I'm going to copy the method signature. That's the method data. I paste it here. I'm going to call this getEmployees in descending order. Employees is equal to await getEmployees. Or getEmployees method. assign it to employees. Here, instead of being implicit, I can be explicit here. So that will be, I'll say use explicit type instead of VAR. Then the last thing I'm going to say is return await tax.from result employees dot order by descending. Then the parameter to order by descending will be P goes into P dot employee ID. Oh, there's still some issue here. There is the parameter query that we've not taken care of. So I'll right click on query, quick actions and refactoring. I'm going to say using RADZEN, that I'm going to select there. Then I have to pass in query. Now, let me go to the code behind. Initialize async. In uninitialized async, I'm going to say await data service dot get employees in descending order. And also in the search, I'm going to say await data service dot get employees in descending order. So let's run the app again. So the app is being built. So the app has been built. So I click on employees, company employees. As you can see now, the last record that I added, Richard Bacon, is now displayed at the top of the list. Thank you for watching.